I noticed the weapon before anyone else did. That's what years as a Marine does to you. You stop seeing crowds. You see angles, hands, reflections. The summit hall of Halcyon Spire was all crystal and light, the transparent dome arching high above us like a frozen sky. Princess Lena Ardyn stood 3 steps ahead of me, silver-white banners of the Aurelians drifting in the artificial breeze. Diplomats from Earth and Aurelian nobles filled the chamber. Then I saw it. Not the rifle, the reflection. A flicker of movement across the curved surface of the dome. A raised arm. A glint. I moved before the pulse shot ever left the barrel. The impact hit like a collapsing star. White heat tore through my side, and suddenly the polished crystal floor was rushing up to meet me. I remember the sound more than the pain. A sharp crack of energy discharge echoing through the chamber. As I fell, my vision tilted upward toward the ceiling. And that's when I saw it clearly. In the reflection of the dome above us, the shooter's hand was still raised. On his finger gleamed a ring, black metal, carved with the unmistakable crest of the Imperial line. Not a rebel, not an outsider, someone from inside. The world blurred at the edges as security forces finally reacted. I tasted copper. My blood looked impossibly red against the pale crystal beneath me. Then she was there. Lena's face hovered above mine, her eyes wide. Not regal, not distant, but terrified. "Why did you do that?" she asked softly. I tried to smile, though breathing felt like inhaling knives. Because someone had to. I woke to the sound of voices arguing in a language I had spent 3 months pretending I understood better than I did. Aurelian voices are smooth, almost melodic, but anger sharpens them. It turns their flowing syllables into blades. Human provocation. Too convenient. Security breach from within his assigned perimeter. I tried to open my eyes and immediately regretted it. Light stabbed through my skull. My body felt distant, heavy, like it belonged to someone else. Then the pain returned. Not the clean burn of the pulse impact that had dulled into something deep and molten, but the awareness that I was still alive when statistically I shouldn't have been. Pulse rounds are not meant to wound. They are meant to erase. I forced my eyes open. The ceiling above me was curved and luminous. Not the crystal dome of the summit hall, but something softer, organic, almost. Aurelian medical architecture always looked grown rather than built. Veins of pale blue light pulsed faintly through the walls like a living organism. I was on an elevated surgical platform. My torso was encased in a translucent field that shimmered faintly, stabilizing me. And standing beyond that field, arguing with 3 robed figures, was Princess Lena Ardyn. She looked different. No ceremonial silver mantle. No jeweled circlet marking her station. Her hair was loosely tied back, strands falling around her face. She looked younger, fiercer. "They are suggesting," one of the robed physicians said, switching to galactic common as he noticed my eyes open, "that the human's proximity to the event creates reasonable suspicion." I was standing behind her. I rasped. My throat felt like sandpaper. "That's kind of the job." All 3 physicians turned toward me. One of them tilted his head slightly, an Aurelian gesture that meant curiosity edged with calculation. "You are conscious earlier than projected," he observed. "That's because he is not average," Lena replied sharply. Her eyes met mine. There was relief there, and something else, something unsettled. "You shouldn't be speaking," she said quietly. "The round penetrated your lower thoracic cavity. It should have liquefied half your organs." "Comforting," I muttered. The physicians exchanged looks. "That is precisely the anomaly," another said. The pulse charge dispersed at 43% expected lethality. Tissue degradation halted spontaneously. Cellular regeneration markers increased instead of collapsing. I blinked at him. "English," I said. He seemed faintly offended. "The weapon should have killed you instantly," he translated flatly. Instead, it did not. I looked down at the shimmering field around my torso. Beneath it, I could see faint lines of light threading through the wound site, knitting tissue together in slow, precise movements. "So your tech saved me." He hesitated. "Not entirely." Lena stepped closer to the platform. "Our instruments detected something in your blood," she said. There was no accusation in her tone, just wonder. "A mutation," the physician added. "Unknown markers embedded within your genetic sequence. They appear dormant under normal conditions. When exposed to high-energy plasma discharge, they activate." I stared at him. You're telling me I've got some kind of alien superpower? It is not a power, he replied coolly. It is a biological irregularity. Lena ignored him. When the pulse entered your body, she continued, your cells began converting the energy, slowing it, diffusing it, almost as if they were designed to withstand our weapons. A silence settled in the room. Designed. I didn't like that word. I'm human, I said firmly. Yes, she said. You are. But her eyes lingered on me in a way they hadn't before. Not as a bodyguard. Not as a diplomatic symbol. As a question. The chamber door slid open with a low hum. 3 members of the High Court entered without waiting for permission. They wore formal dark robes trimmed in metallic filaments, authority woven into fabric. At their center stood Lord Viral, Senior Magistrate of Internal Security. He did not bow to Lena. Your Highness, he said, voice smooth as polished stone. We require clarification regarding the circumstances of the attack. You have clarification, Lena replied coldly. An assassin fired upon me. My bodyguard intercepted the shot. Viral's eyes moved to me, unblinking, assessing. And yet, he said carefully, the assassin vanished within seconds. No body recovered. No weapon found. No confirmed identity. Security is investigating, Lena said. Yes, Viral agreed. And preliminary analysis indicates that the human repositioned himself precisely 3 seconds before the discharge. I felt my jaw tighten. I saw the reflection, I said. In the dome, Lena added immediately. Viral's gaze shifted to her. Your Highness, with respect, it is statistically improbable that a human peripheral reflex could detect and respond to an elevated sniper position within 1 second. I almost laughed. You've never seen humans in war, I said quietly. He ignored me. There is also the matter of his condition. The physicians stiffened slightly. You will not disclose medical data without my authorization, Lena warned. Viral inclined his head. We already possess it. That caught her off guard. You accessed restricted files? She asked. The safety of the throne supersedes privacy protocols. His eyes moved back to me. A genetic anomaly that enhances resistance to Aurelian weaponry. Present in a human assigned directly to the heir apparent. Convenient. My blood ran cold. You're saying I staged getting shot? I demanded. I am saying, Viral replied, that your survival benefits you greatly. A martyr who lives commands sympathy. Lena stepped between us. He nearly died, she said, voice trembling with restrained fury. I watched his vitals collapse. And yet he did not, Viral countered. Her hands clenched at her sides. You are implying treason. I am suggesting prudence. The room felt smaller suddenly. I pushed myself up slightly against the field. If I wanted her dead, I said evenly, I wouldn't have stepped in front of the shot. Silence. Viral studied me. Then he said something that made my stomach drop. The shooter wore a ring. My heart skipped. You found him? Lena asked sharply. No. He looked directly at me. But witnesses reported that the human stared upward before losing consciousness, as if recognizing something. My mind flashed back to the reflection in the dome. The ring. The imperial crest. I hadn't told anyone that detail. How did you know about the ring? I asked slowly. Viral's expression did not change. We have surveillance. Lena's eyes narrowed. Then you also know, she said quietly, that the crest belongs to the imperial line. The room shifted. Something unspoken moved between them. Viral inclined his head slightly, which is precisely why we must consider every possibility, including me. The accusation hung in the air like a blade suspended by a thread. Lena turned back to the physicians. He lives, she said. That is final. You will complete his recovery. You will not share his genetic findings with the court without my direct order. Your Highness, Viral began. She faced him fully now. I am still heir, she said, voice dropping to something colder than I had ever heard. And until I am removed from that position, my authority within this chamber is absolute. For a moment, I thought Viral might challenge her. Instead, he bowed. Shallow. Reluctant. As you command. They left. The chamber doors sealed. Silence returned. The physicians resumed their work, quieter now. Lena remained beside me. You should not have heard that, she said softly. I've heard worse, I replied. She studied my face. Are you afraid? I considered lying. Instead, I told the truth. Yes. Not of dying. Of being turned into something I didn't understand. Of being used. Her hand hovered near mine, not touching. Aurelians rarely initiated physical contact outside ritual. I do not believe you staged this, she said. Good. But I do believe, she continued carefully, that something about you is not accidental. I swallowed. Meaning? She hesitated. When the physicians scanned your mutation, they detected patterning. Patterning. It resembles adaptive coding. Almost engineered. The word hit harder than the pulse round had. Engineered. I was born on a mining colony, I said. My parents were mechanics. Nobody engineered me. Her eyes held mine, perhaps not knowingly. A chill crept through me that had nothing to do with the surgical field. Somewhere inside my blood, something had activated. And now the court knew. And the man wearing the imperial crest had tried to kill her. And somehow, all of it was connected. Lena finally allowed her fingers to brush mine. Light, brief, electric. You saved my life, she said. I met her gaze. I'd do it again. This time, she didn't look away. If you've watched this far, then this story is really interesting to you. Please confirm it by clicking like under this video. It doesn't cost you anything, but it will help me understand what story to publish for you next. Write in the comments who the alien woman in this story looks like, and who you would like to see in the next one. Let's move on. Recovery aboard an orbital station sounds peaceful in theory. In reality, it's a special kind of torment. Halcyon Spire drifted beneath us like a shard of glass suspended in the clouds, but I wasn't allowed near any windows. The physicians insisted on low sensory exposure while the regeneration field completed its work. My wound had sealed faster than expected, but they wanted to observe what they called post-activation behavior. That was their term. Activation. Like I was a device that had powered on. I hated it. They ran scans twice a day. Blood draws every 6 hours. Neural mapping once every cycle. Each time, the results were the same. My cells were behaving in ways that made Aurelian medical science uncomfortable. When exposed to residual pulse energy during controlled testing, the mutated markers in my bloodstream flared faintly, converting heat into something inert. Not eliminating it, transforming it. No human augmentation registry contained anything like it, which meant one of two things. Either it was natural, or someone had done something to me before I was old enough to remember. Lena visited every day, not always in formal attire, sometimes in simple slate-colored robes. Once in what I realized was training armor. She'd come directly from tactical drills, something heirs rarely participated in publicly. She never stayed long when others were present. But when the chamber cleared, she lingered. The first time she came alone, she brought a tablet. Not a court-issued device. Personal. I've been reading, she said, sitting in the curved chair beside my recovery platform. That sounds dangerous, I replied. She ignored the joke. About you. That's even more dangerous. Her lips twitched faintly, the closest thing to a smile she allowed herself in public. Your file is extensive. Comes with surviving too long. She tapped the tablet and projected a faint holographic display between us. My military record rotated slowly in the air. Early enlistment. Colonial conflict zones. Tactical commendations. Casualty survival statistics that were statistically improbable even before the summit. You have been in 12 confirmed high-energy engagements involving plasma-class weaponry, she said. Comes with the territory. You were injured in 9. Also comes with the territory. Her eyes shifted to me. You never died. That's the goal. She dismissed the projection. That is not what I meant. I went quiet. She leaned back slightly, studying me in that unsettling way she had, like she was looking through layers. Your genetic anomaly, she continued, did not appear randomly. I exhaled slowly. You've said that. I have been reviewing archival material. That caught my attention. On me. No. Her gaze shifted toward the station viewport, faint starlight glimmering beyond the reinforced glass. On the first contact between our species. I frowned. That was 80 years ago. Yes. And there were incidents that were sealed. Incidents. She activated the tablet again, but this time the projection was older. Grainier. Text written in ancient Aurelian script with translation overlays flickering beside it. This archive was restricted to imperial lineage, she said quietly. It concerns early biological exchange experiments conducted during the first decade after contact. My stomach tightened. Exchange, I repeated. Aurelians were fascinated by human adaptability, she said. Your species survives environments ours cannot tolerate. Your neural plasticity, your immune resilience. And there were proposals. Proposals for what? She hesitated. For integration. The word felt heavier than engineered. You're saying Aurelians experimented on humans? No. She shook her head immediately. The proposals were rejected. Officially. Officially. I looked at her carefully. What are you not saying? She switched projections. A single line of text appeared. Old. Almost ceremonial in tone. When the bloodied outsider becomes the shield, the throne shall change its nature. I stared at it. That's poetry. It is prophecy, she corrected. I almost laughed. You believe in that. I was raised on it. She folded her hands loosely in her lap. It appears in pre-unification texts. It speaks of a foreign protector whose blood will alter succession. And you think that's me? I think, she said carefully, that too many variables align. I leaned back against the recovery field. You're basing that on coincidence. Am I? She began listing them. A human with unexplained genetic adaptation resistant to our primary weapon class. Present during an assassination attempt involving a ring bearing the imperial crest. Intervening at precisely the moment required to fulfill an ancient line. I rubbed my face. You forgot one. She tilted her head. I didn't volunteer for any of this. Silence settled between us. Then she did something unexpected. She stood and walked toward the viewport. Do you know why the prophecy frightened the early emperors? She asked softly. Because it threatened them? Yes. She placed her hand lightly against the glass. It implies that legitimacy can be altered. I watched her reflection instead of the stars. You're worried about your throne. I am worried about what it would mean if my survival is tied to something beyond tradition. I understood that, more than she realized. Let me ask you something, I said. She turned slightly. If someone engineered this mutation into me, her expression tightened. Why? She didn't answer immediately. Because, she said finally, it would mean that your existence intersects with our future long before you stepped into that hall. I stared at her. You're saying I was made for this. I am saying, she corrected, that perhaps you were positioned for it. That was worse. I pushed myself upright slowly. The recovery field adjusted, humming faintly. I grew up in a mining colony that barely had clean air, I said. My parents worked double shifts to afford nutrient packs. No secret labs. No alien benefactors. She approached again. Genetic coding can lie dormant for generations. The idea lodged itself in my chest like a second wound. You think my family. I think, she interrupted gently, that the mutation may predate you. Silence. The station's artificial gravity thrummed faintly beneath us. You're not afraid of me, I said. It wasn't a question. No, she answered. Why? Because whatever you are, she said, you stepped in front of that shot. Her gaze softened. And you looked surprised when you survived. I let out a breath I hadn't realized I was holding. That's reassuring. It should be. She hesitated. Jake, if this prophecy is real, if your blood changes the throne, it will not be through force. Then how? She held my eyes. Through choice. Something unspoken hung between us. Not political. Personal. I looked away first. Don't start rewriting destiny because of me, I said quietly. I am not rewriting it, she replied. She stepped closer. I am trying to understand it. Her hand hovered near mine again. This time, she didn't pull away immediately. The faint contact sent something electric through me, stronger than any pulse weapon. Outside the viewport, Halcyon Spire glimmered beneath us. And somewhere in its depths, someone wearing the imperial crest had tried to kill her. If the prophecy was real, it wasn't about crowns. It was about collision. And I had a feeling we were only at the beginning of it. They cleared me for limited duty 3 weeks after the summit. Limited meant I wasn't supposed to engage in direct combat, wasn't supposed to strain the healing tissue in my side, and absolutely wasn't supposed to throw myself between the princess and any more high-energy discharge. I signed the waiver anyway. Halcyon Spire had never looked more fragile to me. From orbit, it gleamed like a shard of starlight suspended above the clouds. Up close, walking its terraces again, I could see the hairline seams in the crystal walkways, the subtle stress fractures in the architecture. The city floated on gravity anchors and layered field generators. Elegant, precise, vulnerable. The ceremonial parade was Lena's idea, not because she wanted celebration, because she refused to look afraid. It is important they see continuity. she told me that morning as attendants fastened the silver mantle over her shoulders. If I retreat now, the narrative belongs to my enemies. You already have enemies, I muttered. She didn't disagree. The main promenade spiraled outward from the central tower in layered arcs of transparent platforms, each suspended at slightly different gravitational frequencies, so the movement of the crowd looked almost like drifting constellations. Delegations from Earth stood along the lower tier. Aurelian noble houses filled the upper rings. I positioned myself half a step behind Lena, slightly to her right, the angle that gave me maximum line of sight over both elevated balconies and ground-level crowd density. The air shimmered faintly with anti-grav stabilization fields. Everything looked perfect. Too perfect. I didn't notice the anomaly visually at first. I felt it. A subtle shift in weight distribution beneath my boots. The gravitational field pulsed, once, then twice, then a flicker in the stabilizer nodes along the outer ring. I looked up. The platforms were drifting, not collapsing, spiraling, slowly at first, like a gentle orbit slipping out of alignment. Then faster. Gasps rippled through the crowd as one of the outer tiers tilted sharply, sending nobles scrambling for balance. Field fluctuation, Lena's aide hissed into a comm unit. No, I said. It wasn't fluctuation. It was command override. Someone had rewritten the gravity sequencing algorithm. I could see it now, a fractional delay in the anchor pulses, a cascade failure starting from the eastern stabilizer cluster. Move, I told Lena, grabbing her arm. Protocol screamed in my head, do not touch without permission, but gravity doesn't care about etiquette. The platform beneath us lurched violently. A section of the outer ring sheared loose, fracturing into razor-edged crystal shards that lifted into the air instead of falling. The anti-grav system had inverted. Debris floated upward like slow-motion shrapnel. Panic detonated across the promenade. Screams echoed as the sky itself seemed to tilt. Shut down the anchors, someone shouted over open comms. You can't, another voice snapped back. It will collapse the entire structure. I scanned the perimeter. This wasn't systemic. It was localized. A rewrite. Inside job, I muttered. I shoved Lena toward the inner corridor as a massive fragment of crystal spun toward us, its edge glinting. I pulled her down just as it passed where her head had been seconds earlier. It embedded itself in a support column behind us. The world rotated 90 degrees. Gravity reoriented abruptly. We were thrown sideways. I twisted mid-fall, taking the impact on my healing side. White pain flared. The mutation reacted instantly. I felt it. A strange heat beneath my skin, not destructive, but reactive, like my blood was anticipating the violence. Jake, Lena's voice cut through the chaos. I'm fine, I lied, hauling us behind a fractured balustrade. The gravity storm intensified. Platforms collided midair. Nobles clung to railings as debris drifted unpredictably in suspended arcs. Then I saw it. Near the eastern stabilizer node, a maintenance drone hovering where it shouldn't be. It wasn't part of the official fleet. Its casing bore no registry light. Its data feed was active. It was transmitting. I tapped my wrist comm. Override access, I demanded. Denied. The system replied instantly. Of course. Someone had anticipated that. Stay here, I told Lena. I am not. Stay. She held my gaze for a fraction of a second, then nodded once. I sprinted across the destabilized platform. Gravity shifted beneath me like unstable water. My wound screamed with every step, but the mutation kept the deeper damage from reopening fully. The drone adjusted position as if sensing my trajectory. Good. That meant it was autonomous, which meant it was hackable. I launched myself, catching the edge of a drifting support beam and swinging toward the stabilizer cluster. The drone rotated sharply, attempting to evade. I grabbed its chassis midair. It discharged a shock pulse through its casing. Pain rippled through my arm, but my cells flared again, absorbing, dispersing. I slammed it against the stabilizer housing. The casing cracked. Internal light spilled out. I tore open the control core and ripped the data crystal free. The drone fell, lifeless. Immediately, the gravity distortions began to stabilize. The spiraling platform slowed. Debris dropped harmlessly to the ground as normal gravitational alignment reasserted itself. The promenade settled into uneasy stillness. Emergency crews flooded the area. Lena was already on her feet, issuing commands with calm authority that cut through the chaos. I landed beside her, holding the cracked data crystal. "Found your ghost," I said. She took it carefully. "Can you access it?" "I don't speak elegant alien encryption." She handed it to a security technician. "Decrypt," she ordered. The technician hesitated, then paled slightly. "Your Highness." "What?" "There is a signature embedded in the override." I felt it before he said it. The tech projected the cipher into the air. I recognized it immediately. The same crest shape I'd seen in the reflection weeks ago. Not the public emblem. The internal imperial seal. And beneath it, a personal encryption string. "Lord Viral," Lena breathed. Her chief advisor. The same man who had questioned my survival. The same man who had known about the ring before I mentioned it. The promenade fell silent as the realization spread. Viral had been overseeing security for the parade, which meant he had both motive and access. Lena's jaw tightened. "He would not act alone," she said quietly. "No," I agreed. She turned to face the assembled nobles, her voice rising just enough to carry. "This was not malfunction," she declared. "It was treachery." Murmurs rippled outward. She held the decrypted cipher high. "The evidence speaks." I watched the faces in the crowd. Shock, fear, calculation. Power was shifting, and they knew it. Lena looked at me then, not as a bodyguard, not as a diplomatic token, but as something far more dangerous. An ally. "You saved me again," she said softly. "Someone keeps making that necessary." Her lips curved faintly, not a smile, but something close. For the first time since the summit, I saw anger in her eyes. Not fear, not doubt. Resolve. The conspiracy wasn't random. It was organized, and it was coming from inside the palace walls. The prophecy had said the throne would change its nature. I was beginning to understand how. Because if Viral had tried once with a sniper, and once with gravity, he wouldn't stop there, and neither would I. After the parade, Halcyon Spire did not sleep. It pretended to. Publicly, the narrative was controlled, a systems anomaly, swiftly corrected. Privately, the palace shifted into quiet lockdown. Guards rotated twice as often. Internal comm channels were rerouted. Lord Viral had not been arrested. Not yet, but he had been relieved of active coordination duties. In Aurelian politics, that was the equivalent of placing a blade gently against someone's throat and waiting to see if they flinched. I was summoned that night without ceremony. Not to a council chamber, not to a security briefing, to the observatory. The highest tower of Halcyon Spire was not made of crystal like the rest of the city. It was dark metal, ancient by Aurelian standards, its surface etched with faint constellations that no longer existed. The elevator ride up was silent. No attendants, no guards. When the doors opened, Lena was already there. She stood at the curved edge of the panoramic glass, 3 moons suspended above the cloud layer below. She wasn't wearing her mantle. No insignia, just a simple fitted black garment that allowed movement. "You should be resting," she said without turning. "You should have more guards," I replied. "That is precisely why you are here." I stepped beside her. Up here, the city noise dissolved into distant hums. The sky felt closer. "Infinite. Viral?" I asked. "Contained," she said. "For now, but he is not the architect." "No." She turned then, studying me in the low silver light. "You were correct," she said. "This is not random." I shrugged slightly. "People don't rewrite gravity for practice." Her gaze softened for a fraction of a second, the ghost of a smile, before it vanished again. "There is something I need to show you. That sentence rarely leads anywhere ordinary." She crossed the observatory floor to a section of wall that looked no different from the rest. Smooth, metallic, seamless. She placed her palm against it. The surface pulsed faintly in response. Lines of light traced outward from her hand in branching patterns, mapping something beneath. A hidden door. It slid open without sound. Beyond it, a narrow, descending passage spiraled downward into darkness. I was not aware this existed, I admitted. Most are not. She stepped inside. I followed. The passage curved steeply, the air cooler as we descended. The walls were not modern. They were carved. Ancient symbols lined the stone, not decorative, but intentional. History embedded into architecture. "This predates the current palace," Lena said quietly. "It predates Halcyon Spire." "How old?" "Before unification." That meant older than the empire itself. The staircase ended in a circular chamber. and I stopped walking. The room was vast, carved from dark crystalline stone that absorbed light rather than reflected it. In the center stood a raised platform, and on it, a sword, not ceremonial, not ornate in the decorative sense. Its blade was long and slightly curved, forged from a metal that shimmered faintly even in the dim chamber. Its hilt bore no jewels, no excessive embellishment, only a single inscription along the guard in ancient script. "The sword of the first empress," Lena said. I approached slowly. "Let me guess," I said. "Symbolic." "It is more than symbolic." She moved to stand opposite me across the platform. "The first empress unified the fractured houses during a war that nearly erased our species. The legend says she did so not by bloodline superiority, but by sacrifice." "That's a convenient legend." "It is inconvenient, actually," she corrected. I studied the blade. It didn't hum. It didn't glow. It simply existed, heavy with presence. "It responds," she said quietly, "only to one willing to die for the heir." I blinked. "That's dramatic." "It has not ignited in 3 centuries. "Ignited?" She met my eyes. "You survived a pulse shot that should have killed you. You exposed a conspiracy embedded in my father's court. You stood in the center of destabilized gravity without retreat." I folded my arms. "You're suggesting what?" "I am suggesting," she said evenly, "that the prophecy may not be metaphor." I exhaled slowly. "You want me to touch it?" "I want to know." There it was. Not political ambition, not superstition, curiosity, and something else. Trust. I stepped closer to the platform. The chamber felt different the nearer I came. The air heavier, charged. "You realize if this does nothing," I said, "you're going to feel ridiculous." "I am prepared to risk that." I looked at her one more time. She nodded. I reached out. My fingers closed around the hilt. For half a second, nothing happened. Then, heat. Not burning. Recognition. The metal pulsed beneath my palm. Light exploded along the blade's edge, a brilliant white flare that illuminated the chamber in stark clarity. Symbols along the walls ignited in response, cascading outward like awakened circuitry. The sword vibrated, not violently, but alive. I felt something surge through my bloodstream. The same activation I'd felt during the pulse impact, but stronger. Resonant. The chamber hummed. Then the blade stabilized, glowing faintly. Silence followed. I loosened my grip slowly. The sword dimmed, but did not extinguish entirely. Lena stared at it, then at me. "It has not responded to anyone since the Empress herself," she said quietly. I swallowed. "Maybe it's defective." Her lips curved faintly, almost amused. "You are not defective." I set the blade back onto the platform carefully. "What does this mean?" I asked. "It means," she said, stepping closer, "that the prophecy was not purely symbolic." I met her gaze. "You believe I was meant to stand here." "I believe," she said, her voice softer now, "that you were meant to stand beside me." The distinction hit harder than the sword's light. For a moment, the politics fell away. The conspiracy, the mutation, the court. There was only the two of us in a chamber built before our worlds even knew each other existed. "You shouldn't trust me this much," I said quietly. Her hand lifted, hesitant, and brushed lightly against my wrist where it still tingled from the blade's contact. "I do not trust you because of prophecy," she said. "Then why?" "Because you had every opportunity to retreat. And you did not." Her fingers lingered for a heartbeat longer than protocol allowed, then withdrew. Above us, the empire trembled with instability. Below us, ancient history had just awakened. And somewhere between destiny and decision, something far more dangerous was beginning to form. Not just alliance, not just loyalty, something neither prophecy nor politics could fully control. The Ascension ceremony was never meant to be a battlefield. It was designed as theater, controlled grandeur, structured reverence, a reminder that power on Aurelian soil was not seized. It was inherited, sanctified, woven into law through ritual older than most human civilizations. Halcyon Spire transformed for it. The central amphitheater opened to the sky, its layered terraces illuminated by ascending bands of silver light. Thousands gathered, noble houses, military commanders, foreign envoys. Earth's delegation stood prominently along the western tier, and at the heart of it all stood Lena, clad in ceremonial white threaded with living metal that pulsed faintly with her biometric signature. The mantle rested across her shoulders like starlight made solid. She looked untouchable, which was precisely why they had chosen this moment. The council convened beneath the amphitheater floor, hidden in plain sight within a circular chamber known as the Chamber of Continuance. Tradition dictated that before formal ascension, the heir must stand before the council to affirm loyalty to the Empire's foundational tenets. It was ceremonial, until it wasn't. I stood just behind Lena as we descended into the chamber. Viral was present, so were 5 other counselors. And in the center of the room, something I had only read about in fragmented archive references. A column of dark crystalline material rose from the floor, veins of faint light threading through its core. "The trial of truth," Lena whispered under her breath. I didn't like the way her voice changed when she said it. "What exactly does it do?" I murmured. "It reads intent," she replied. "Neural impulses. Emotional prioritization. It identifies primary motivators beyond spoken words." A lie detector, but ancient and Aurelian. Viral stepped forward, hands clasped behind his back. "Your Highness," he began smoothly. "Recent instability within the Empire necessitates reaffirmation of internal integrity." Lena's expression did not shift. "I have already reaffirmed my loyalty publicly." "This is not about loyalty," another counselor said quietly. "It is about clarity." I stepped half a fraction closer to Lena. "Clarity of what?" I asked. Viral's gaze flicked toward me. "Of influence." There it was. They weren't challenging her authority directly. They were questioning mine. "The heir," Viral continued, "must demonstrate that her decisions are unclouded by external emotional interference." Lena's jaw tightened. "You intend to place me under the trial?" she said. "Yes." "And what of him?" she asked, tilting her head slightly toward me. A pause. Then Viral smiled faintly. "An excellent question." The implication was obvious. If I stepped away, they would say I feared exposure. If I refused, they would accuse me of manipulation. If I agreed, I risked revealing everything. Lena looked at me, not commanding, asking. I understood the unspoken calculus. If she stood alone under the device, they could twist the data. But if I stood beside her, they would see exactly what motivated me. And I wasn't sure the Empire was ready for that. "I'll stand," I said. Her eyes flickered, surprise first, then something softer. "Very well," Viral said. "Both subjects will enter the field." Subjects. I hated that word. We stepped forward together. The crystalline column began to glow faintly as we approached. Thin arcs of light extended outward, forming a translucent sphere around us. The air inside felt heavier. "Charged." "Remain still," a technician instructed. "As if that's optional," I muttered. The field activated. It wasn't painful. It was invasive. A subtle pressure behind my eyes. A sensation like someone gently prying open mental doors I didn't remember locking. Memories flickered. The mining colony. The first firefight I survived. The summit hall. The pulse shot. Lena's voice asking why. The machine pulsed brighter. I felt it scanning, parsing, weighing. Across from me, Lena stood perfectly upright, calm, but I could see the tension in her hands. The trial shifted color, from silver to deep blue. A voice echoed within the chamber, mechanical, toneless, ancient. Primary neural vector detected. A hush fell over the council. The sphere intensified. Data streamed along the surface in shifting glyphs. Viral watched with predatory stillness. Subject 1, the voice intoned. That was Lena. Dominant cognitive priority. Preservation of sovereign stability. Of course. The council nodded slightly. Then, secondary vector. Individual protection. A faint ripple moved through the room. The sphere shifted. Subject 2. Me. I felt it dive deeper. Past reflex. Past duty. Into the core. Dominant neural vector detected. Silence thickened. The glyphs flared white. Primary motivator. Preservation of Subject 1 at all personal cost. No mention of politics. No ambition. No manipulation. Just her. The chamber froze. Then the trial did something unexpected. It amplified. The sphere brightened further, scanning not only intent, but emotional weight. Attachment depth, non-strategic. Non-compelled. Voluntary. Aurelian counselors exchanged looks. The machine was categorizing my loyalty as authentic. Not engineered. Not coerced. Viral's composure cracked slightly. "Continue analysis," he ordered sharply. The trial complied. Self-sacrifice probability, extreme. Images flashed against the inner sphere, memories pulled forward. The summit hall. The gravity collapse. The sword igniting. Lena inhaled sharply beside me. I hadn't realized the trial would broadcast visuals. Motivation source. The voice continued. Then it stopped. The glyphs destabilized. Fluctuated. The sphere pulsed erratically. I felt the mutation respond. Heat surged through my bloodstream again, but this time the field reacted to it. The trial recalibrated. Genetic anomaly detected. Murmurs spread instantly. Origin classification, non-hostile. That part surprised even me. Intent alignment, sovereign preservation. The sphere dimmed slightly, then delivered its final assessment. Subject to influence, stabilizing, non-subversive. The field collapsed. The pressure lifted. Silence remained. I stepped back instinctively. Lena did not. She turned to face the council directly. "You have your clarity," she said. Viral's voice came slower now. "The trial confirms loyalty," he admitted. "And something more." He didn't say it, but it was there. The Empire had just witnessed that my devotion to her was not political positioning. It was personal, undeniable, public, and in Aurelian culture, emotional transparency at that magnitude was seismic. Lena stepped down from the platform. She didn't look shaken. She looked resolved. The council chamber doors opened. The ceremony would continue, but nothing about it would be the same. As we ascended back toward the amphitheater, Lena spoke quietly. "You knew what it would reveal." "Yes." "You chose to stand anyway." "Yes." She stopped halfway up the steps, turned toward me. The glow from above outlined her features in silver. "Do you regret it?" The entire empire now understood what I would die for. What I already had nearly died for. I met her gaze. "No." Her composure faltered for just a breath. Then she leaned slightly closer. "Neither do I." Above us, the crowd awaited proclamation. Below us, the political balance had just fractured. Because now it wasn't rumor. It wasn't prophecy. It wasn't speculation. It was truth, carved into imperial record. I wasn't her weakness. I was her chosen shield. And everyone knew it. The arrests happened before dawn. Not dramatic. Not loud. No public executions. No sweeping declarations. Viral and 2 counselors were taken into imperial custody under sealed authority. Their encryption trails linked them not only to the parade's sabotage, but to the sniper at the summit. The ring had not been symbolic. It had been deliberate, a message hidden in plain sight. The Empire adjusted quickly. It always did. But something fundamental had shifted. The ascension ceremony resumed under tighter guard. Lena stood before the amphitheater, not merely as heir, but as something harder, sharper. The council could no longer question her judgment without contradicting the trial of truth itself. The device had spoken, publicly, and it had spoken in my favor. The Emperor summoned me privately that evening. He was older than I expected, not fragile. Aurelians aged with controlled grace, but weathered. His gaze lingered on me longer than was comfortable. "You have complicated my empire," he said evenly. "Wasn't the plan," I replied. "No," he agreed. "It rarely is." He studied a projection hovering between us, the genetic scan taken after the pulse impact. "We analyzed your mutation independently," he continued. "It does not match any known Aurelian augmentation." That's reassuring. "It is also not purely human." That word settled like gravity. "Meaning?" I asked. "Meaning," he said slowly. "Someone altered your lineage generations ago." My pulse quickened. "By who?" He deactivated the projection. "That remains unclear." Before I could press further, the chamber lights dimmed sharply. A low resonance vibrated through the walls. An alert. Not internal. External. The Emperor turned toward the main display panel. "Source?" he demanded. A technician's voice echoed over the chamber's calm, deep space transmission. "Your Majesty." Narrow beam. Directed specifically to. A pause. To Jake Turner. Every muscle in my body tightened. The display flickered to life. A pattern of encrypted pulses rotated slowly in the air. Not Aurelian. Not standard human military coding. It was older. Structured. Deliberate. "Playback," the Emperor ordered. The pulses reorganized into audible waveform. A voice emerged. Distorted. Layered. Neither fully human nor Aurelian. Genetic marker confirmed. The room went silent. Adaptive sequence successful. A chill crawled up my spine. Phase 2 imminent. The transmission ended. No coordinates. No signature, just silence. I stared at the fading waveform. That wasn't random, I said quietly. No, the Emperor agreed. Lena entered the chamber without waiting for formal clearance. Her eyes moved from her father to me to the darkened display. You heard it, she said. Yes. The weight of it settled between us. My mutation wasn't an accident. It wasn't prophecy. It was design. And whoever designed it was still watching. Lena stepped closer. Not as heir, not as sovereign, as herself. They may have altered your blood, she said softly, but they did not alter your choice. I held her gaze. That's the part they don't control. The Emperor watched us both. The alliance between our species, he said slowly, may depend not only on diplomacy, but on understanding what you are. I exhaled. I'm still human. Lena's hand found mine, openly now. Yes, she said. You are. Outside the chamber windows, Halcyon Spire floated above the clouds as it always had. Stable, radiant. But beyond the atmosphere, something had awakened. And whatever had engineered my blood had just made its next move. The conspiracy within the palace was over. The larger one had only begun. And this time, it wasn't just about protecting a throne. It was about discovering why I had ever been capable of doing so. Thank you for listening to this story to the end. Don't forget to like and subscribe. Write in the comments what moment in this story impressed you the most. And also check out the other videos that just appeared on your screen. See you in the next video.